Karl Marx was right. Although he claimed not to believe in God, he confessed to what he called the principle of history. He wrote that a driving force behind history revealed a plan for mankind. In his writing, Das Kapital, he refers to the dialectics of materialism. He was attempting to find the truth behind what makes man selfish or unselfish. But if he confessed to the fact that there was a driving force behind history, then as logical thinkers, we must realize that there has to be a design and a planner behind the plan. This driving force behind history must be an omnipotent power, something or someone who has unlimited command. And who could that be? The driving force behind history that Marx alluded to must have been God, a God behind history who must have given a plan and a goal to history, and man is being driven to his ultimate goal whether he likes it or not. You see, whether we believe it or not, there are unseen spiritual forces in the world today, and there have been for thousands of years, that are trying to influence the way we think and the way we live. Some of those spiritual forces are good, and some of them are evil. The prophecies laid out here in the Bible, specifically in the books of Daniel and Revelation, as well as other selected parts of the Bible, reveal clearly that there is a plan and a goal and a planner behind it all. But God didn't wait until the late 1800s for Karl Marx, who was obviously inspired by Satan, to publish his counterfeit plan for man. Instead, God revealed the true plan for man over 2,000 years ago, and it has happened and is happening and will happen, just as predicted. God gave us his true plan, and as Jesus said, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." So are you listening? Because that brings us to our Bible verse for the day. Jesus said in John chapter 14, verse 29, "And now I have told you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe." Now, if I told you specific things that were going to happen in the future, things that I couldn't have known about, and those things did happen, you'd call me a prophet, right? And after that, if I made any further predictions, I'd probably have your attention. Well, that's exactly what God has done for us. And that's why it's important to take a look at some of these prophecies, all of which were written thousands of years ago, some of which have been fulfilled, and some that are still waiting to come to pass. And as Jesus said so clearly, "I have told you before these things came to pass, so that when they do come to pass, you may believe that God has a plan for you, and that you can know assuredly that the words written in this book, the Bible, are truly from God for us." Approximately 1/4 of the Bible was prophetic at the time that it was written. The obvious conclusion that we can make from this statistic is that if God devoted that much of his word to the subject of prophecy, it certainly benefits us to study it. Having a knowledge of Bible prophecy demonstrates beyond any doubt that God knows the end from the beginning and is orchestrating the events that we see in the world today to fulfill his perfect plan. And knowing at least some aspects of future events as they're laid out in the Bible will help us to have a better understanding of the current economic and political events that are taking place that will eventually bring us to a one world government. And as ugly as that might sound to some of you, it's apparently going to sound pretty good to much of the world, as one man is allowed to have more power, more control than anyone has ever had since the beginning of time. The pharaohs were regarded as gods, the Roman emperors were also regarded as gods, and many other world leaders were given godlike reverence over the centuries. So it shouldn't sound too far-fetched that the world will give the same adoration to a man who will one day rule the entire world. Will it happen in our lifetime? Only God knows for sure, but as we begin to study the prophecies in the Bible and we speculate on exactly how some of these prophecies will be fulfilled, it's going to be an exciting journey. We'd like to invite you to join us for this journey as we read and study some of the most detailed and amazing prophecies ever written. Where else can we find writings like these? Nowhere. This is our source. This is our guidebook. When Jesus spoke of his approaching death and resurrection to his disciples, they naturally became troubled. Many people today are also troubled because of the disturbing world conditions. We're asking some of the same questions that the disciples most likely asked themselves. Who will defend us from our enemies? Jesus calmed their fears with these prophetic words. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And because they had already witnessed the fulfillment of Scripture through the life and ministry of Jesus, the disciples believed him when he gave the prophetic promise of his return. And like the disciples, were also comforted by the fulfilled promises of prophetic scriptures, which confirm that God is on the throne and that the events here on earth are performed according to his plan. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please be sure to do that and make sure you click the notification button so you won't miss out on the exciting journey. God bless you, and we hope to see you again next time.